Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this session on an introduction to innovative clean tech in the UK. My name is Martin Garrett. I'm Chief Executive of Cambridge Clean Tech. And with me today, I have Philippa Hoy, who has 20 years of working in the 20 years of experience working in the sustainability sector. And now she's working for Bioregional, heading up the management of Oxfordshire Green Tech. Also with me is Kenan Pelayo from the Department for International Trade at the British Embassy in Berlin. Kenan is Her Majesty's Deputy Trade Commissioner for Europe and has teams working across Central Europe and Northern Europe, including in Germany. So just to begin with, a little bit of background on Cambridge Clean Tech. We are the membership organisation for companies in the low carbon environmental goods and services sector, or clean tech sector, within the Cambridge region and the east of England. We've been operating for over 10 years now, and more recently we helped to establish Oxfordshire Green Tech, and more on that from Philippa in a second or two. And we're also establishing at the moment Clean Tech London. So in effect, we'll sort of be creating a green triangle or a supercluster between those internationally renowned centres of excellence in Oxford, London, and in Cambridge. And indeed, some of the speakers that you'll be hearing from shortly are from each of those three city regions. So very much looking forward to hearing from those innovators from within the clean tech sector. Now, our focus at the moment as a membership network is to help our member companies recover from the impact of the pandemic. And in particular, we've been focusing on access to finance, which our members say is very important to them. We've also sent out e-shots detailing information about potential competitions, and also about announcements from VCs within the sector of putting forward challenges at the moment. We're also very keen to promote opportunities for contracts with corporates. And if you take a look at the Cambridge Clean Tech events page at the moment, you'll see about a dozen opportunities to work with corporates from across Northwest Europe. So, for example, there are three German packaging corporates that are looking for innovations in terms of sustainability from the clean tech sector. We have Rotterdam The Hague International Airport, which is looking for innovations in drone technology and in smart energy for the airport facilities. And we also have 5 Polish corporates that have set up a series of challenges looking for innovations that innovators from the UK and elsewhere in Europe can help to achieve to solve some of those solutions for the Polish companies. So that's what we're doing at the sort of tactical level to help our members. But I think strategically it's also important that we work with governments both in the UK and across Europe to get forward the message, or to put across the message, that they should be building back better and looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals to see how they can make sure that once the recovery does take place, that it's for a more greener pathway for the future. And then I think also to look at government contracts in terms of how they spend when they're putting in place new capital contracts for the new high-speed rail links, for example, what elements of sustainable technology are involved in those. So that's a bit of a view from Cambridge Clean Tech and what we think is important at the moment. And I'd just like to hand over to Philippa, who's going to tell us a little bit about Oxfordshire Green Tech.
Thanks very much, Martin. And yes, delighted to be part of Tech Days. So Oxfordshire is a region in the centre of the UK, very well connected with Cambridge and London, as Martin was saying. So we are the business network for the low carbon economy in Oxfordshire. We launched last spring, and very much in partnership with Cambridge Clean Tech, who've been going for a lot longer than us and have been great to support and help us develop. So since the launch, we've been bringing together businesses, academia and other organisations to come together to collaborate, innovate and share knowledge with each other, all to help facilitate this move to the low carbon economy. And not just in Oxfordshire, but very much reaching beyond our county borders across the UK and internationally. We respond to the needs and the interests of our members, and at the moment there's 4 key areas, and Martin's mentioned some of these really important sectors. Low carbon mobility, particularly interest. Oxford City Council is very strongly pushing to be the first zero carbon emission zone city, and plans are on track for that. The second area is the circular economy, with lots of organisations looking at how they can change the way they're working to be more circular, and we're going to be hearing about some of those today. Built environment, very, very important. Massive house building plans across our regions, but how can we do that better and more sustainably using lower energy? Lots of innovations that we're seeing there. Access to finance, of course, to make all of this happen is very important, and all those support networks that Martin was mentioning. So we hold networking events, we do training, we can also offer support to our members to help green their own operations. And market intelligence, matching those entrepreneurs, making sure they find the right investors for them. We've got about 100 members currently, and that's building all the time, particularly during COVID-19 crisis, which is great to see. And the nice thing for our members is that if they become members of Oxfordshire Green Tech, they're automatically benefit from all the work of Cambridge Clean Tech as well, and vice versa. So I think that's really going to see the networks grow from strength to strength, particularly if there's connections with London as well. And just so important, as Martin was saying, about Build Back Better. We're hearing so much about this. There's so much commitment to this amongst our members and local and national politicians and councils and individuals, that we're really hopeful we're going to see a real faster move towards a more sustainable future following the crisis.
Okay, Philippa, thank you very much for that overview of what's happening at Oxfordshire Green Tech. Over now to Kenan, who's going to give us a view from the Department for International Trade. Kenan, Build Back Better, over to you.
Thank you very much, Martin and Philippa, and it's actually it's a true delight to be part of the session for Munich Tech Days. And you're going to hear some really great overviews later from some truly innovative, potentially world-changing solutions from entrepreneurs and businesses alike. So a little bit about the Department for International Trade. We're a government department, and our ambition is to secure UK and global prosperity by promoting international trade and investment and championing free trade and open markets. And many of you in Germany will, I'm sure, be aware of my teams who are based in the embassies in Berlin and also the consulates in Munich and Düsseldorf, and those from elsewhere across Europe, I'm sure, will know many of my teams in the other embassies and missions there. So I just wanted to kick off by confirming the UK's commitment to ending its contribution to climate change, which is unwavering. I think 12 months ago, the UK became the first major economy to pass a net zero emission law. New target's going to require the UK to bring all greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. We want to deliver on our net zero commitment in a way that maximises the opportunities of both the UK transition and the global shift to green growth and build better, as both Philippa and Martin have just said. This is why we placed clean growth and innovation at the heart of the UK's industrial strategy. The UK government has just confirmed its research and development budget allocations for 2020-2021, an unprecedented investment of over £10 billion to key areas, including world-class science innovation, net zero technologies, and support to the immediate COVID-19 response efforts. As many of you will know, the UK is also going to be presiding over the next COP26 conference, and we're committed to increasing climate ambition further. We will, of course, uphold the Paris Agreement and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as crucial frameworks, as Martin has highlighted. Unfortunately, the conference had to be postponed to November 2021 due to the impact of the coronavirus, but we remain absolutely committed to working with all parties and stakeholders to accelerate climate action this year and, of course, in 2021. The business community have a critical role to play in that clean recovery. This is an extraordinary opportunity to restart the economy, as we've just been discussing, as we emerge from the ravages of COVID-19. It's essential that we hear from entrepreneurs and business leaders who are leading the way in identifying creative green business solutions. The UK has a world-leading clean tech sector, and its many innovative businesses play a huge part in helping us to become a net zero nation. So I'm really excited about the rest of the session today. And thank you again for inviting me.
Hi everyone, I'm Ethan Fox, Technology Director at Aurelius Environmental. We're a waste management and recycling company developing new technologies for the recycling of lead-acid batteries, that is car batteries. And as you might imagine, this has something to do with the circular economy. And in case you're not familiar with the concept of a circular economy, it's a game of Monopoly. Your material or resource, which could be a plastic bottle, in this case, let's say it's a battery, it's a piece that's going around and around, and every time you pass go, you make money. If you run out of money before you pass go, it's game over, and that's when you end up in landfill. And believe it or not, the lead-acid battery is the most successfully recycled commodity product. And that's quite amazing because the lead battery was invented before the mechanical generation of the electricity. That is sometime in the 1850s. Incredible, right? Etc. But although the lead-acid battery is the most successfully recycled commodity product and a huge industry, the industry that recycles these batteries is known as being the world's most polluting industries, or one of the most polluting industries. And this is where our technology comes in. The problem we're trying to solve is the fact that this recycling industry is energy intensive, it is carbon intensive, it is very wasteful, and in many cases it is highly polluting. And the solution to this problem is simple. All we're saying is take the active material out of the battery, and instead of burning it in a furnace, throw it in a water tank and process it using water-based chemistry, our proprietary chemistry, which we've developed in partnership with the University of Cambridge, and we've patented. And if you're wondering what the setup looks like, it's something like this. It looks like junk. Yes, that's what makes it so cheap. Having cheap capex is one of the benefits of the process, but there are other huge advantages with getting the active material through a water-based process instead of incinerating it in a furnace. For starters, it's a zero emissions process. There's no pollutants that need to be caught using expensive systems. The carbon footprint is reduced by 85% on average. The waste outputs from the process itself are nil, and that reduces the overall slag that the industry would produce by more than 90%. And it saves money, and that's very important for your game of Monopoly, basically. And this is what the stages of the process looks like. And I don't want to get too technical here, but the point is, you break the battery, you separate the components, you get the active material, and you put that in a water tank, and you do this chemistry here, which I'm not going to bore you with, but the whole point of it all is that you regenerate the active material found in the battery without having to burn it and reduce it back to a metal component. And that means for the customers, reduced impact on the environment, savings in terms of the money spent to practice the process. And the icing on the cake is that the material, when you put this back into a new battery, you can expect an uplift in the energy density. So it's not only cheaper and greener and more environmentally sensible, but you can produce a secondary battery that outperforms the original battery that you've just taken through the recycling system. And that's a concept that we often refer to as upcycling. The recycling process produces a better material. And in case you're wondering why that is because one of the great benefits in working in the water phase is you can engineer the properties of the material. You can have more porosity, a higher surface area, which lends itself to better chemistry in a battery. And that's essentially all it is. These are my contact details. Thank you for your attention. Have a great day.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Ocampos. I am co-founder and managing director of ChemNexus. ChemNexus is a technology-based startup of the University of Cambridge and member of Cambridge CleanTech. Our mission is to promote sustainable development by bridging the digital and innovation divide with inclusive connectivity and low-energy sensing technologies. Our team has a vast international experience in technology transfer, project development, and implementation in diverse countries in Latin America, North America, and Europe. We have experienced the challenges of either transferring or implementing new solutions. In many cases, such solutions are designed for scenarios where infrastructure, energy supply, and local innovation capability are assumed existing and highly developed. However, in many opportunities, the lack of accessibility and the lack of understanding of the local conditions make those solutions inviable, which has been even more evident now with COVID-19, showing the huge technological gaps and global challenges for sustainability. With this as a motivation, since 2018, at ChemNexus we gathered our expertise with focus first on the need, and then building enabling infrastructure that could combine cutting-edge technologies that can be accessible, resilient, low energy dependent, and smart, by providing near real-time data access to end users and key stakeholders, even in remote locations. We help them to take informed decisions and efficiently manage their key resources. Our solution is an Internet of Things network that provides sensors, connectivity, and early warning alerts in case of anomalies detected of the key resources, particularly water. This is not just about the sensors, however. This is about helping farmers and food producers in countries such as in Brazil to improve their quality life by helping them to visualize in real time how their daily operations impact on the quality of the water that they use to irrigate their fields, or the impact of other surrounding activities, for example, weather-related. They are increasing their awareness on their impact on their environment and increasing their quality of their products. And by providing a solution that is based on data gathered by remote monitoring without the need of manned supervision, they are able to dedicate more time to other activities, such as training, exchange of good practices, and learn more about the market and new market opportunities. In the case of the water utilities, we have partnered local system integrators to work together with water utility companies that require early warning system for water management along their water supply and distribution networks. Globally, water demand is rising and resources are diminishing. And climate change has had a serious impact on water availability in many cities. In the case of Chile, where we ran our pilot, water losses from distribution networks can reach as high as 50%. If reduced, it could restore an enormous supply of valuable treated water, ensuring access to water and keeping healthy our water basins, and natural ecosystems. We believe that the challenges we face can be tackled in a collaborative approach, in an inclusive innovation approach. That is why in all our projects, we collaborate with universities, local policymakers, local companies, and end users. Innovation cannot be seen anymore as a luxury for just some countries, the richest one. That applies to the digital and clean tech solutions. We are facing global challenges, and that is why at Camp Nexus have adopted UN SDGs as part of our mission and vision. We can help you. We are here to help. Because innovation is not just about technology, it's about people.
Hello, my name is Tom de Wilton and I'm the COO of Oxwash. Who are Oxwash? We are an eco, on-demand laundry and dry cleaning startup from here in sunny Oxford in the UK. What do? We offer eco, on-demand laundry. What does that mean? That means we come to your front door, whether you're a consumer or a business. We come to your front door using one of our electric cargo bikes. We collect your items, we bring them back here. This is what we call the Oxford Lagoon. We've got our washers, our dryers, and just around the corner, our ironer and finishing equipment. So we process your items using the latest state-of-the-art technology, and we deliver them back to you. What's special about Oxwash? Really, it's our sustainability. We are striving to be the world's first truly sustainable laundry. What does that mean? That means we use the latest technology to offer ambient temperature washing. We wash your items at 20 degrees. How do we do that? We do that using ozone technology. That means we can achieve sterilisation at low temperatures. Normally you need heat, you need chemistry. We achieve that same sterilisation using ozone. What does that mean? That means our overheads are lower. That means your items last longer. That means the whole process has less of an impact on the world, the global, this crisis we find ourselves in. A bit about Oxwash. Oxwash was founded in 2017 by Dr. Kyle Grant, a former NASA engineer. Kyle founded the business during his synthetic biology PhD at Oxford University. I guess the big question, how has Oxwash been affected by COVID-19? As I mentioned, we serve small businesses. In the UK, the introduction of the lockdown, small businesses closed. 95% of our revenue disappeared overnight. To say it was a disaster would be an understatement. However, Kyle and myself decided that we would continue to be operational. We own a laundry. During a pandemic, things need washing. It's as simple as that. We quickly and quite rapidly pivoted into washing healthcare. Washing for healthcare, washing GP scrubs, washing bed sheets, washing towels that are used in hospitals is a completely different ballgame to washing personal items, washing curtains, washing sheets, shirts. So there's some real challenges there. However, we managed to do it. We quite quickly started washing for the Oxford healthcare professionals, GP services, hospitals, most notably the Oxford University vaccine trial that you've no doubt read about online, which I'm actually proud to be a volunteer for. When I went up to the hospital to get my first vaccination jab, pure coincidence, I was able to collect their first bag of laundry. So that all worked out really well. So we've seen 95% drop. We've managed to pivot into healthcare. That is bringing some revenue in. However, we're now looking at how we rebuild our business after the pandemic. What's that going to look like? It's a shame to say, we've had to compromise in several ways on our sustainability throughout the healthcare. Our energy expenditure's gone up, our plastic use has gone up. So now, not only do we want to be the world's first truly sustainable laundry, we want to be the world's first truly sustainable laundry that can hit those strict, rigid healthcare hygiene standards for laundry. We think that the consumer market and the business market is going to be, for want of a better word, obsessed with hygiene, with sterilisation, with disinfection, and we're going to make it our mission to be able to achieve that without the vast, unacceptable energy expenditure that would normally be used. What's that going to look like in practice? We're going to get Oxford, our site here, back up and running. We're going to launch our site in Cambridge that was paused just before the lockdown, and then we're going to look to London. We're going to be in London by the end of the year. We're determined. We think there's going to be a vacuum around our competitors, and we're going to move into that space. We're going to fill it, but we're going to fill it with a sustainable, impassioned business with a laser focus on this aim. And we think that is going to be the way we are able to both survive and then thrive coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. I've been Tom de Wilton. Great to meet you.
Hi, my name's Alan Asbury and I'm Managing Director of CLS Energy in Oxford, England. We work across the UK, across Europe and across parts of the Far East to advise organisations on how to save costs, how to save fuel, how to save energy and to reduce their carbon footprint. And that's why I'm here today, to help you to reduce your carbon footprint. So the first thing to do on addressing this agenda is to gather data. Ideally at least 12 months of data, energy, fuel use, transport fuel use. Put it into spreadsheets, calculate it, address it, assess it, and find out where your significant energy users are, be that your operation, your factory, your office, your fleet. You need to normalise the data, so assess that against outside temperatures, so you can remove those as anomalies, and then you can drill down to real aspects of what's happening year on year. It's really important also to look at half-hourly data, which you can get from your supplier, which will show you what's happening on a half-hourly basis throughout the year, day and night, and you can see if your operational hours are fitting in with your energy usage. For example, overnight or at weekends, if things are being left on, these will start to show up and you can address them. Beyond that, with your fleet, you'll have hopefully fuel pumped data as well as kilometres mileage data, which you can assess and address. You may also have telematic data, which will give you information like over revving, over idling, harsh braking, harsh acceleration, and you can then rank your drivers and assess them against a parameter. And looking at that data, you can then see where your weaker drivers are and train them to improve. Having got a baseline from a benchmarking exercise, you can then go into the factory, into the operation, into the site and assess it. So first of all, looking around the building, looking at insulation levels, getting around the plant rooms, getting on the roof, looking at HVAC units, ventilation, cooling, lighting, and assessing where that's at, how it's controlled, what behaviours are looking like, and what technology is there. Looking at plating, finding out what the energy usage is on those fans, for example, in HVAC units, and assessing that sensibly and systematically. If you're in operation, you can look at things like compressors, CNC lathes, pumps, motors, and put clamps on them. Assess them as they're happening, as they're running, so you can see what energy-based usage is happening and where you can save money by reducing usage or controlling or turning things off when they should be off. Having done all of that, get out to the fleet, talk to the fleet manager, talk to the drivers, look at the fleet for technologies, look at the quality of the equipment that's there, look at the aerodynamics and how to reduce drag on that fleet. And if it's a fleet that's leased or it's bought on a regular basis, look at the specification for that fleet and see how it could be improved, because any saving you can make from aerodynamic drag reduction will be saved year on year for the life of that vehicle. Having done all that, if you've never done it before, you'll probably be saving 50-60% of your energy use. If you have done it before, maybe 20 to 30%. But you've now got your building and your operation in a situation where it's optimally managed. You can then look at renewable energy, because you don't want to do that and over-generate energy and sell to the grid at low rates. You want to be generating what you need for your site. So looking at things like solar panels on roofs or in your area of land around. If the wind resource is right, looking at wind, looking at low carbon energy, such as combined heat and power, CHP, and finding solutions that work for you, that are going to bring down your emissions and give you energy that is clean. Having done all of that, you might be now at sort of 70% to 80% of your energy use reduced, and you can look then at things like sequestration. So getting involved in local country-based activity in your own country to sequester carbon, perhaps through tree planting that's monitored, audited, controlled and managed. Beyond that, the final resort, which is a resort that some people start with, unfortunately, is carbon offsetting, which is asking people to go and plant trees or other such technologies in other parts of the world on your behalf. This is very important to be managed, maintained, audited properly, because planting trees is one thing, making sure they grow and are maintained and looked after and grow into adulthood and become sequestering trees is really important. And oftentimes trees are not looked after, they die, they are infested with insects, they are logged or they're burned, as in wildfires in Australia earlier this year. So really important that if you go down the offsetting route, which is much cheaper than the earlier solutions, you make sure that it's properly done. Because going down the earlier routes, we've talked about energy efficiency measures, renewable measures, will save you money, they will reduce your emissions, and they will reduce your energy usage right across the board. And also you'll be able to talk about them to your shareholders and stakeholders because they'll be able to see them physically in your buildings and around. So I hope that was helpful as a starting point. Please get in touch if we can help you any more, and please also enjoy your day. Thank you.